Is it just me, or am I the only person who thinks that, for the most part, remakes and remasters are necessary? I don't know, I feel like in recent years more and more people have been against remakes, remasters, and ports. And I definitely understand why, and I'll get to that more in depth in a video. But to me, it feels like they are more necessary, if anything. Remakes, remasters, and ports can help bring amazing games to modern systems and PCs in order to make the game more available to older fans to replay, or newer fans to play for the first time. In recent years, we have gotten some amazing remakes. For example, Resident Evil 4 Remake is an incredible remake since it not only respects the original and keeps its vision intact, it also improves upon and modernizes it for a new audience to enjoy, while also allowing old fans to experience the game in a new way. There's similar cases of this with remakes such as Shadow of the Colossus, Final Fantasy VII Remake, Persona 3 Reload, Dead Space, Metal Gear Solid Delta, and a ton others. Even remasters such as the Crash and Spyro trilogies or Halo 2 Anniversary managed to keep the original vision while also modernizing the game for a new audience. It's especially really cool when both the original versions of the games and the remakes are readily available on consoles and PC. There's plenty of other cases of this, but overall I think they're a good thing since video games are the hardest piece of media to preserve, and we need a remake, remaster, or port once in a while. There are still some great games that are stuck on older systems that need at least a port. Metal Gear Solid 4, Infamous 1 and 2, the Greek God of War games, Persona 1 and 2, Jak and Daxter, Sly Cooper, the Def Jam games, not you, Chrono Trigger, Splinter Cell, and so many other games. Sometimes it's nice to get that remake or remaster of your favorite game from back in the day. But sometimes it just gets to a point where we get remakes and remasters of a game that either didn't need it, nobody asked for, or just butchered the game so hard to the point where you might as well play the original. Case in point, The Last of Us. Now, The Last of Us is a classic of a game. The Last of Us Part 2? So when thinking about the game, you probably wouldn't consider a remake or remaster of either game, right? Right? Alright, look, in my opinion, The Last of Us Remastered on PS4 makes sense. Despite the game being only a year old at the time, the PS4 wasn't backwards compatible with any PlayStation system before it, let alone the PS3. So it might have made somewhat sense to bring it to PS4 in order to let people who might have missed out on it play it on what was at the time a next-gen console. After that, you got The Last of Us Part 2. Okay, a sequel to the original game. Whether you love it or hate it is up to you, but in terms of number of releases, it's nothing too crazy. Then you have The Last of Us Part 1 Remake, The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered, The Last of Us Complete Bundle. And that's not even counting The Last of Us Season 1 and 2 of the show, which retells the story of both games. Overall, I would say the Part 1 remake didn't need to happen, but at least you can make a fair argument with how it drastically improves the gameplay and graphics. Part 2 remaster? Yeah, that didn't need to happen at all. Why does this exist? You were able to play it through backwards compatibility on PS5 anyway, and the game was only like, what, 2.5 to 3 years old when the remaster dropped? Another PlayStation series you can make the argument for is Uncharted, since they released the Uncharted Legacy of Thieves collection a few years back, which includes Uncharted 4 and The Lost Legacy. I mean, cool, it exists, but if you're gonna port these games to PS5 and PC, you might as well have merged it with the Nathan Drake collection, which had 1 through 3. Regardless though, it's one thing to have a remake or remaster that's unnecessary or doesn't really make any sense, but it's another thing to have a remake or remaster that's just straight dog shit. For example, Halo Combat Evolved Anniversary. I'm sorry, but this remaster was just so ass to me. Like, functionally, the game is good. It plays fine, but it's one of those cases where it almost completely fucks up the original's art style and vision. The lighting is too fucking bright and inaccurate to the original. It reuses assets from games like Halo Reach and Halo 3, which have completely different art styles. Some of the animations are off. It's a whole mess. I hope Campaign Evolved can do it right, but we'll just have to wait and see. Also, fuck all the 343 Industry game. GTA Trilogy Definitive Edition was another one that was pretty damn bad. The whole game was just broken and didn't work at all. The bad thing about it too was that they delisted the original versions, so you can't go back to play them unless you already owned them digitally, like me. Or you have the old copies from PS2 or Xbox 360 or whatever. More examples of shitty remakes and remasters I can mention are Warcraft 3 Reforged, Star Wars Battlefront Classic, and albeit one that's good in terms of quality, although does some things wrong in terms of sticking with the original, Resident Evil 3 Remake. It's low-key a shame too. Instead of remaking or remastering games that don't need it, game companies could just make entirely new games or franchises. or just reboot it. Reboots are a slightly different case, but honestly at the same time it's a similar situation to remakes and remasters. Some remakes can genuinely revive a franchise in a great way to make it accessible to a new audience. The modern God of War and Doom games are amazing examples of this, since they allow for a fresh start in terms of plot and gameplay for newcomers to jump in, while also keeping the lore of previous games intact for veterans to appreciate. Sometimes, even if reboots do a complete reset and make the game separate from the originals, it can still lead to some great experiences like the Tomb Raider Survivor trilogy, for example. Although, again, just like with remakes and remasters, some reboots just aren't good. Like the Saints Row reboot, Mirror's Edge Catalyst, the recent Modern Warfare games, and Sonic 06. Dear God, Sonic 06. Like I mentioned before, remakes, remasters, ports, and reboots can be beneficial to bring games to a new audience, make them more available, or even bring new light to a game that you might have previously thought didn't need one. But it can also be highly unnecessary or not even end up good in the first place. And like I said, companies could just focus on making good original games too. Literally every big franchise started off as a new IP, so we don't have to rely on old shit all the time. But for now, we'll support the ones that are good and shit on the ones that are ass. Matter of fact, we could always preserve the games ourselves by keeping physical media alive. So if you want to check out my stance on that, check out this video that's on screen right now.